Is the Earth flat? Was the moon landing fake? And most importantly, can a dead trading card game full of conspiracy theories predict the future? Stay with me tonight to find out. Welcome TCG family to another Two Girls One Up ASMR video. I hope that you like the intro that I prepared for you today, because today we are inaugurating a new segment called the Dead TCGs. And I wanted to start this new segment with something that I thought was really interesting and very fun. And that pertains to this particular trading card game or collectible card game called Illuminati New World Order. So this is a game that came out in the 90s, around 1994, and was designed by Steve Jackson. As you can surmise, this is a game that dwells on conspiracy theories. It's all about talking on this secret society, the Illuminati, who are trying to create a new world order, which is a totalitarian government that is and has been worked on for a long number of years. So this card game recently gained a lot of attention because a lot of the cards that are included in this set, and these are just the starter decks. This is for the unlimited edition. As you can see, this is a sealed one, and they became very popular because of two specific cards. One in which the terrorist attack for 9/11 was discussed or was portrayed, and I'm going to show you some of those images here, and hopefully we can get that card from the starter decks. And then another one because of some attempted assassinations of a presidential candidate, and the card art is very revealing. There's a lot of resemblance of this candidate to what the person that is being portrayed in the card, so it was a little chilling. Both of these cards are selling for a lot of money. I think that the terrorist attack one is going for upwards of $50, and then the assassination attempt one is also maybe around the $80 to $90 on eBay. So pretty crazy commanded prices for this. And as you can imagine, trying to get sealed product from the 90s is actually rather difficult. In fact, these two decks, I mean, they come as a pack. They go for around $100, and that's like the lowest price that you can find them for on eBay. So I was able to score a couple of the starter decks, and they're sealed. I also got this Illuminati Mutual Assured Distraction, also by Steve Jackson. It's essentially like a small expansion for the game. And in addition, I got the Illuminati New World Order book. And so as you can see here, it's got like a really nice cover art, and we're gonna go through some of the cards that are described in here. So as you can see, a lot of this we have seen, and you know, it's really interesting. And we're gonna describe a little bit of gameplay. Some of the art may be a little graphic, as you can see here, international cocaine smugglers. So if you are a little bit more sensitive, or you know, you don't want to be dealing with some of these more crude images, then please, you can skip this video and come back the next week for our next Yu-Gi-Oh release. But we thought that this was interesting enough from a collectability point of view, and it also made for an interesting video on debt trading card games. So, without further ado, let's get to opening these starter decks. Alright, as I mentioned, they were quite pricey, so we're gonna go over some of the cards and then discuss some of the more common conspiracy theories that are out there on the internet. So, very interesting stuff. Alright, so these are the decks, pretty tiny, and it comes with like a small booklet right here. Let's see. It says Illuminati New World Order World Domination Handbook version 1. And so it begins by saying the world is stranger than you think. Everything that you read in the tabloids is true. The telephone company is controlled by the Moonies. The congressional wives have taken over the Pentagon. The druids are casting spells to destroy the IRS. Hitler is still alive, or at least his brain is, in a jar, and you wouldn't believe where it's hidden. Mad scientists are building orbital mind control lasers aimed at you. You've always known it. Secret conspiracies are everywhere. They're out to get you unless you get them first. Now you are one of the Illuminati, the secret masters, competing to take over the world. World leaders, multinational corporations, and entire nations are merely your pawns. The outcome is never certain until the final double cross. So, quite an interesting introduction. And here, they essentially introduce a game for 2 to 6 players. And the starter decks include the rulebook and 2 decks of 55 somewhat randomly selected cards from the 409 in the Unlimited Edition. Some cards are much rarer than others. You can get booster packs to add to your collection. And interestingly, yes, you play this game using 2 6-sided dice, and then you also need like essentially like money. There's money tokens that you get because obviously a lot of the things that you're trying to take over cost stuff. Like you want to buy corporations, you want to buy IPs, and etc. So it's the bidding game to the death. So this is a good version to use when all the cards are owned by one person. Start with a single batch of cards, 45 for each player in the game. Each player has 200 tokens to bid with. First, auction of the Illuminati cards themselves to determine who will play what group. And so, essentially, there's specific groups of Illuminati. So, like, there's the Cthulhu followers, there's the Bavarian Illuminati, and etc. And those are going to be kind of like your leaders, as we know in other games. Now this one, to the death. If you want a really long game, just find a great big table, order a lot of junk food, and play till only one Illuminati group survives. If you eliminate another player, you get their resources and their undrawn group and plot cards. Just put them on the bottom of your own deck. The owner of the cards should write down all the cards that you are borrowing. So essentially, you begin with you have group cards, plot cards, you have your Illuminati groups, and etc. So the full set is like I think 406 cards for the full Illuminati New World Order. Is a big box, and a seal one commands a price of over $400. So quite expensive. So let us see what kind of cards we got in here, and then we're going to be walking over the different types of cards that you get and then some of the gameplay. Alright, well, this is the first Illuminati. Remember, this was sealed, and let us see what we get. So these are some of the all right, like volunteer aid, poison, tidal wave, so all the tsunamis. You can use this as an instant attack to destroy any coastal place. So hurricanes, I mean, we've just been, the United States, specifically Florida, has been under some hurricanes that have caused major damage. So a lot of people have been saying that a specific political group can actually produce hurricanes. Another conspiracy theory. And of course, that is not true. The harmonica virgins. All right. That's interesting. The corporate masters. Any corporate group with power 4 or more counts double towards your total number of groups controlled. Interesting. Albino alligators. I did not know that was a conspiracy theory. The second bullet. Oh, that's an interesting card. This is one that many of you have heard before. A liberal agenda and people trying to enforce it. Info ban. So I guess that this has to do with all the bans of information that people think are happening. Oh my god, this is one of those cards that has been on the spotlight too. The March on Washington. And if you remember some of the events that happened, not that long ago, this is an interesting card. So I'm just going to put it aside. Emergency power. So I don't know much about that one. Earth magic. You can play this card to help protect a place against a disaster. All right. A deep agent. You may totally negate the privilege of a privileged attack. Interesting. Monopoly, just like what we see with a lot of the oil companies, monopolizing resources and selling everything they want to at whatever price they want to. Sweepstakes prize. All right, so this is all about television and how, there's a lot of theories about how television is essentially the one essential medium to be able to control the population. A military industrial complex, so New World Order. Interesting. Mutual betrayal, as you can see, a very graphic card, so I'm just gonna go through this. Never surrender, so I assume some protesting here. Charismatic leader. Oh my god, this was another one of those cards where a certain political candidate has been making waves and showing themselves as a very charismatic leader. Jihad, the war. Yeah. Flying saucer, very interesting. So this is a gadget artifact. The Center for Weird Studies. It's an interesting one. All right, and then here you have your minions. Essentially, you can have lawyers. Al Gore hugging a tree. Oh my goodness, that is funny. I'm gonna put it over here. Stonehenge. All right, so another important site. Religious Reich. Oh, so what does this say? Holy. Oh, I can't really read it. Holy something. Interesting. Punk rockers, cycle gangs, vampires. Oh my goodness. Bigfoot, of course, one of the other big conspiracy theories. Madison Avenue, you need more stuff, and it's one of those propellers of capitalism. Fast food chains, of course, a lot of people, thrive on those. Always try to eat healthy, my friends. The anti-nuclear activist. Liberal. Oh my goodness, this is funny. Bill Clinton. Oh my gosh, and look at him. He's wearing a collar. So straight liberal government. Liberal sometimes government. That is interesting. I'm gonna put this one aside. Oh, and this one's came. All right, so let's just turn them upside down. The rogue boomer. Interesting. All right. The United Nations, where everyone just seems to just be yelling at each other and not actually doing anything to help currently with what's going on in the world. Angel's feather. You know, this looks very interesting. It reminds me of that symbol from Berserk. Orbital mind control lasers. Do you guys remember when a lot of people were believing the, once again, conspiracy theory about the pigeons having their batteries replaced during COVID? And that's why we had to go on a quarantine so that we didn't see when they were changing the batteries. Pretty crazy. All right, here we have England. We have Druids. The Hammer of Thor. Oh, interesting. So I wonder what this little symbol is. The phone freaks. I mean, wow. I don't know how many of you have actually lived through that era where you could actually go and use the public phones. Silicon Valley. Oh my goodness. That's an interesting card too. I'm going to put it aside. Revolution. The rebels are in the hills. They have outside support. They have photocopiers. Celebrity spokesman. So more television related. Saturday morning cartoons. And you know, guys, like, who remembers those days for watching Saturday morning cartoons? And then essentially what is showing here is that conditioning of, you want to get this toy, you want to buy this, ask your parents to buy you that. Very interesting. Oh, they changed again. Let's get really organized. Okay. A clone. You know, I wish it was just that easy to create clones, but as a geneticist, I can tell you it's not that way. Secular humanist. Oh, that's an interesting card. You know, the shadow. Censorship. And this is something that we've been talking about. Like, apparently a lot of media censorship is happening. And, you know, with the era of the internet, you don't even know what's true anymore. All right, and these are actually, I think, Rifki Knights. I don't really know what that one is. I'm gonna have to like research this one. We have Elvis. It was him. Elvis has the power to distract any media group by making a brief public appearance. By using his action, Elvis can cancel any action taken by any media group. Elvis also has +6 for direct control of the Church of Elvis. That's so funny. All right, and so here you have, guys. So these are the 2 Illuminati groups that we got. So one would be the Bermuda Triangle, and they have a power of 8/8. So you may reorganize your groups freely at the end of your turn. So that would be the ability of this leader or this Illuminati. And then you can control a total power of at least 35, counting Bermuda's own power, and at least one group of each alignment. A group with more than one alignment counts for all its alignments. All right, so that would be one. And then the other one, of course, UFOs. Power of 6/6, but it says twice. The UFOs can have 3 different gold cards in play and win with any of them. That sounds pretty powerful. The UFOs have 2 actions per turn. They get 2 tokens. This may not be used in the same attack. Very interesting. So as you see, like, the art is actually quite interesting for this. And like some of the topics that they're talking about, we can say that, you know, it still exists to this day. So like Bigfoot, the vampires, like, wasn't there a theory that, I think, was it Prince Charles, that he was a vampire? That's really crazy. Anyways, we're not here to judge, but that's another conspiracy theory that is going around. So from these first starter deck. We got, I think, a few interesting cards. The censorship, the Silicon Valley one, Bill Clinton, that's really funny, Al Gore, that's even better, the charismatic leader, and I'm gonna be, and the March on Washington. Like, this one is the one that really strikes me as because it's something that did happen. Don't like it, nope, really, really unhappy, and to the point that it got invaded. Very interesting. All right, well, let us open the second deck and then see if we can actually pull that those other cards, like particularly the terrorist attack one, because that art is just mind-blowing because of how accurate it is. All right, so we begin with purge, privatization, a nuclear accident, and I mean, this has already happened. We had the Chernobyl, but I think that happened before the game was made. But we also had Fukushima, so I'm gonna put it aside. Bimbo at 11. It gives +5 on an attack to destroy any male personality. So I assume that they were talking here or referring to Bill Clinton's. Chicken in every pot. The Whispering Campaign. Interesting. Reorganization. You may completely reorganize your entire power structure. You may play this card at any time during your own turn. It requires an action from your Illuminati. The crop circles. Oh my gosh. Yep, another very famous conspiracy theory that these are done by aliens. The payoff. So play this card immediately when a rival plays a duplicate card for any group you control. You have bought the loyalty of the dissident faction that your rival was courting. He must discard his duplicate group card. Okay. Exposed. So media related. This makes me sad. The world hunger. It is unfortunately something that we're still dealing with, and I wish that we could be more conscious about it and do something about it. Power corrupts. This is a long known truth. The Pulitzer Prize. You can play this card at any time to give +10 power or resistance to any media group you control. So as you can see, controlling the media is very important in this game, as you would expect of a secret organization who's trying to establish a new world order. Read my lips. So voting, a public figure appears on national TV and talks his way out of everything. Car bombs, assassination. Slush fund. Interesting. So you play this card at any time to give +10 power or resistance to any conservative group you control. Well, that is an interesting way to depict a conservative group. The stock split. Alright, so a corporate group card. The mob influence. Well, we know it's something that, I think that little symbol that we saw before, it must be the artist. Dictatorship. I think that this is the same art that we saw for a different card. So that's interesting. I'm gonna have to find it. Interference. You may interfere with a privileged attack on either side. No other players may interfere unless they use plot cards or special abilities. Currency speculation. Oh my goodness. So we see a lot of this, particularly with, virtual currency and all that. I'm gonna put this one aside. Got the FBI. Urban gangs. Trekkies. Oh my gosh. This is funny. California, living the life right here. Gordo Remora. I don't know this guy. I don't think I ever saw any program. Next up on Gordo, people who believe in conspiracies, are they nuts or just too stupid to live? You decide. That's funny. The Spear of Longinus. Oh my goodness. Well, so this is an interesting one. And so I'm not sure if you guys know, but apparently Hitler and the Third Reich, they invested, well, I don't know if it's right to say the Third Reich, but they heavily invested in trying to find artifacts that were supposedly related with power, one of them being this Spear of Longinus, and supposedly they were able to find it. The Bronze Head, so it's a magic artifact. Fast food chains, Madison Avenue. Oh my god, this is another one of those cards, because it essentially, and you know that the Pentagon was actually attacked, and this is one of those cards that supposedly predicted the future. This is a very good pull, my friends. It's also another one of those expensive cards because the art is so crazy accurate. I'm gonna put it aside. Anti-nuclear activists. We have a Bigfoot again. We got more vampires. TV preachers, you know, they still are active. They're still getting a lot of money out of people. So, Finnish Floridators. I'm not sure about this particular conspiracy theory, but it will be interesting to research it. The loan sharks, you know, they still exist to our days. Big media, another one. Now, I guess that we should have called it the big social media. The internet has really changed how we get our news, what we watch, how we get our feeds. Crazy. Vegas, you know, I haven't been, but I would like to go, and I know that there's I think there's going to be a sorcery con in Vegas in November, so I wish I could have known earlier because I would have loved to go. Video games, oh my god, this is a cool one. So video games is also part of those strategies that you can use to further your conspiracy theory or your Illuminati's agenda. So I'm gonna put this one to the side. The Frog God, oh my god. So this is a magic artifact. The idols are both frightening and silly, and no one knows why the masters keep them around. So this kind of reminds me of the flying spaghetti monster and how people decided to found the church, the Flying Spaghetti Monster Church. So kind of similar to the Frog God. The AMA, you know, this is an interesting one and kind of portraying the idea that medicine makes their money out of other people's deaths and misfortune. Japan, the land of the rising sun. Okay, so this is another one. So it's a powerful nation. It's peaceful government, computer coastal nation. So it's got a 6-4 power and then an 8 resistance. So it means that you will need a lot of money or a very good die roll to be able to conquer it. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Junk mail. And I can even think of like if they, you know, back in the day it was the mail, but what about email? That is exactly what my inbox looks like these days. Junk mail, I like this one. Oh my gosh. You know, I don't want to get political. But yes, I think that praying to the money god. All right. A bank merger. So another one of those strategies that you can take. Oh my god, guys. This is another one of those crazy cards that, you know, has become more relevant as the years have passed by. Political correctness. Used insensitive pronoun. 8 flesh of dead animals. Oh my god. This is a good one to have pulled and a crazy one. Alright, well, we're gonna put it aside as well. Dollars for decency. And as we know, I have enclosed my something $25 tithe generously. So a small critique towards churches, or a big critique rather. International Weather Organization. Oh my god. This just goes along to those ideas, those crazy ideas out there that somehow a political party can control the weather patterns. That is absolutely not true. Oh my gosh. A giant kudzu. So that this is really like really out of a out of someone's bum. A funny one. We got New York here with King Kong in the back. Alright, so what do we have here? We have a scandal. Alrighty, so requires media action. Opportunity knocks. They thought they were safe. They were wrong. So, after playing a group, and fails to take it over and discards it. Alright. And then here we have our other two Illuminati groups. One being Shangri-La. Alright, it's a special goal. Have peaceful groups with a total power of 30 in play, regardless of who controls them. If this happens, all Shangri-La players share the victory. Any group in your power structure has an extra +5 to defend against any attack. Even instance, you cannot destroy any groups except violent ones and rival Illuminati. So yes, the Shangri-La is like that very peaceful land, and so it would be one of those Illuminati groups. Then here you have the network. Special goal. Any computer group with a power of 3 or more counts double towards your total number of groups control, and you start your turn by drawing 2 plot cards rather than 1. So the ability of having the network at your disposal, so you could essentially try to control the media much faster. Alright, my friends, so let us look at some of these cards that we have pulled aside, and let us begin with, I think, one of the top pulls from these two decks, the Pentagon attack. I think that this card is actually one of the higher cost ones that are being sold on eBay. It's very graphic and, you know, very similar to what happened. The junk mail, as we know, just junk email. The video games and how they have exploded throughout the years. We have Al Gore here, we got Bill Clinton, and then we got Silicon Valley. Very interesting. But this Pentagon card is actually pretty crazy. Very, very crazy. Alright, here we have the charismatic leader, another one of those crazy accurate cards. We have the March on Washington, another crazy accurate card. Censorship, political correctness, deadly accurate card. Currency speculation, crop circles, and the nuclear accident. So very interesting ones, my friends, and I have to say that the ones that I have mostly seen on eBay are this one, the March, charismatic leader, and also, and of course, the Pentagon, because that's crazy accurate prediction right there. Alright, so we kind of went through some of these other ones. Dollars for decency, bank merger, interference, the dictatorship, the slush fund for the conservative groups, Pulitzer Prize, exposed payoff, reorganization, whispering campaign, bimbo at 11, privatization, Jihad, never surrender, mutual betrayal, and let us see, info ban, the liberal agenda. I think I'm gonna put this one out too, that's really funny. Albino alligators, the corporate masters, yes. Hurricane, I think that's another one that's interesting. Tidal wave, poison, volunteer aid. Oh, here, revolution and dictatorship, and I think now we can make the link between the art of both. Oh, I think I see why these two are related. You can see here, dictatorship is just a city, the big dictator here in the screen, some smokes, I assume that these are just factories. And then here, revolution, essentially the image of the dictator is being burned and there's explosions and etc. So you go from a dictatorship to a revolution, which has happened in recent years. All right, and here we have locations essentially, or like groups, not locations. The International Weather Organization that we were talking about, Japan, the AMA, Vegas, the big media, loan sharks, TV preachers, vampires, fast food chains, Gordo Remora, the Trekkies, the urban gangs, the FBI. And more vampires, psycho gangs, punk rockers, religious Reich. This is interesting. And you know, once again, I don't want to get political, but I feel like maybe you can make the connection there. Some of the war that is happening. The United Nations, Druids, phone freaks, the Saturday morning cartoons, Elvis, and the secular humanists. And then finally here we have the frog god, Bigfoot, bronze head, the spear of Longinus, Center for Weird Studies, that is weird, the flying saucer, more Bigfoot, rogue boomer, orbital mind control lasers, angel's feathers, and the hammer of Thor. Very fun cards and very interesting art. I am rather enjoying it, my friends. I wanted to show you a little bit of the book, and I specifically want to show you, we unfortunately did not pull this card, but I think this is going to be very interesting to you, my friends. And so let me show you here real quick about that 9/11 card I told you about. So here is the art. They essentially provide you an explanation in the book regarding the rules, some of the attacks that you can make. Essentially it's like a little bit of lore, and then they teach you how to play like group cards and just generally how to go about this game. So the let us see. So the network. So these are all the Illuminati groups. The Gnomes of Sewerage. The Discordian Society. Interesting. The Bermuda Triangle. We pulled the card for that one. The Bavarian Illuminati. So the OGs of all the conspiracies. Let's see. Who else do we have? The Shangri-La. We pulled that card. We have the Servants of Cthulhu. That's a fun one. I would probably play that one. We have the UFOs. We also got that Illuminati card. Alright, and so here are the groups, and these are in red. Let's see, they even have Fidel Castro right here. And then let's see, oh my goodness, they have the feminists too. That's really funny. Alright, so the Japan card. Let's see. So these are, what are the purple ones? The resources. Oh, I see. So like Bigfoot is considered a resource. The Center for Weird Studies, the Angel's Feather. They even have the Ark. That's very interesting. All right, and then here this are the plots. And so the plots are the very interesting ones because, you know, here the censorship or the car bomb or bribery. But this is a card that I wanted to show you and see. Let's see. So there's March on Washington, and then here we have Plague of Demons. Oh, interesting. The Purge, Read My Lips, and what's around? Oh my god, yes, right here. Terrorist nuke. Look at that image. I mean, that can't be more true than what happened on 9/11. It's crazy accurate. This card game came out in 1994. And look at this. This is another one of those crazy cards that people are selling for a lot of money because of how accurate it is. When I saw it, it kind of sent a shiver down my spine. And you know, a lot of the people, what they're commenting on the YouTube videos showing some of these cards and etc. is that, well, it's not really a coincidence. And that this man, Steven Jackson, was able to somehow know a lot of what these secret societies have planned and are doing. Of course, you know, that is another conspiracy theory in itself. I think that games can sometimes be scarily accurate. I mean, we have The Simpsons. They predicted the future in several instances. So it just tells you that sometimes reality is just like fiction. It's crazy, right? All right. Well, but this is not everything I have for you today. We have this mutually assured distraction, which was one of those expansion packs. It introduces new World Order cards, which affect all players, to the classic game of Illuminati, and it's just 18 of these cards. So, let us see what this one has in store for us. And this particular one wasn't expensive, and you can see why in here. Let me just open this. The reason is because this was published in October of 2019. So first edition, second printing. So somehow this game is still publishing things. And I feel like a lot of it is because of some of the hype that the game got because of crazy cards like this one about predicting the future. So it really generated a lot of interest among collectors to see what other cards might be out there and what some of these cards' prophecies have been fulfilled. So the pack itself was around $25, which, as you can see, I mean, for 18 cards, that's actually pretty pricey. So I can't seem to open this one. Oof. All right, there we go. All right, let us see. So here we have, Illuminati Mutual Assured Distraction is an expansion for Illuminati with the latest and greatest conspiracy tropes as of 2010. So, you know, this is new conspiracy theories that we can introduce to the previous game. And lots of new world orders. All right. Now, let us see what we have here. The digital currency. Oh my goodness. That's actually really fun. All right, let us see what we pull on here. All right, digital currency. Our new banking technology lets us steal faster than ever before. Very funny. Global instability, you know, something that is still happening to this day. Gun control, oh my goodness. Yeah, this is something that unfortunately still happens. Mutual assured distraction, smite the heretics. So, peace in our time. Then we'll choose up sides for the next war, which unfortunately is already happening. Rabble rousers, please, I beg you, for the good of our nation, for the good of my ratings, go out there and kill somebody. I'm just saying. Oof, that's actually pretty crude. Bank collapse, you know. If this card game came out in 2019, so the 2008 collapse had already happened. Defense cuts, which I don't think are happening at all. Economic stimulus, yes, 2008, and so they're just flushing the money on the toilet. Fanatics unite. There's nobody left in the center. This is an interesting image because it alludes to that famous sculpture. Huh. The loopholes. Losing money turns out to be profitable. Huh. Interesting. Super patriotic act. Oh my god. I don't know. It just, the whole Washington thing, it just reminds me of that. Death panels. I'm totally against any such thing as death panels now. How do I get on one? Ooh, that's creepy. Gay marriage. Oh my goodness. All right, well, this is not a conspiracy theory, but you know, I'm glad that they made a card out of that. The health reform. Ooh. Healthcare is so expensive that not even the doctors can afford it. You know, guys, it's not so far from the truth. Healthcare is very expensive, and honestly, I just don't really know how people who have no insurance be able to afford it. It's just crazy. Infotainment. Yeah, honest reporting gets awards. Fun reporting gets ratings. Yeah, very appropriate. Law and order. Oh my god. That's another one of those, you know, popular phrases by one of our ex-presidents. Put them all in jail, nuke the jail, problem solved. Ooh, that sent me shivers. The supermajority. 60% of the votes is 100% of the power. Unfortunately, that is another reference to one of the previous governments. Back from the dead. It didn't work before, let's do it again. Alright, celebrity's funeral. And now the news goes on hold for a week while we bring you 24-hour coverage of this box. Isn't it a great box? Oh my god, that's kind of crazy. The earmarks. It is vital, I say vital, that your tax dollars be sent to my constituents right now. Entitlements. Oh my god, anything is negotiable except that. Very interesting. Outbreak of sanity. Don't worry, it never lasts. Unsolving, cutting credit cards, cutting the internet, smashing the television. Woofda. These are very interesting cards themselves. And, you know, I think some of the more interesting ones would be the Law and Order one, but as we know, that had already happened by the time this expansion was published. And essentially they're just publishing new things that had already happened rather than making predictions. So, oh wow, the digital currency was an interesting one too. Very interesting stuff, I have to tell you, my friends. This was a very, very fun game to open and just to comment on. And so I just wanted to ask you, what is your what is your favorite conspiracy theory? I have to tell you that my favorite conspiracy theory is about the European Organization for Nuclear Research, so the CERN. And I know that the CERN is at the heart of many crazy conspiracy theories, including people who believe that when CERN discovered the Higgs boson in 2012, they inadvertently created a black hole and Earth was sucked into it. And so essentially the Higgs boson is what is called the God particle. And you know, you can get a much better explanation of what it is on YouTube and another like channel that does more of like the physics and like explain the fabric of space and time. And so essentially the Higgs boson was this particle that was very important for the creation or for the Big Bang to happen. And so many times and that's why it has been called the God particle, because essentially it was kind of like the origin of our universe from the Big Bang. And so some people believed, and when the CERN has these like super hadron collider, and that's how they were able to discover, like not discover but actually prove the existence of the Higgs boson. And so people believe that when CERN was performing these experiments and when the Higgs boson was identified, the hadron collider, that a black hole was born out of it. And so that we are actually, our world ended in 2012 when this Higgs boson particle was discovered, because it generated a black hole and the Earth was sucked into it. So essentially, the world ended in 2012, but we haven't realized it yet because of this distortion of time and space. What a crazy thing to believe in. But you know, it's my favorite conspiracy theory because I'm always, you know, pondering like, whoa, we're already dead then? Like, how are we gonna go about enjoying our lives? Well, these are all philosophical questions, but what I can tell you, my friends, is that we are here, we are having fun, and if we're dead or not since 2012 and we haven't realized it, well, I believe that we are all having a darn good time. Thank you for being with me tonight. I am Sakti. This is Two Girls One Up. And if you haven't subscribed already, please give us a like, subscribe to watch more entertaining TCG opening videos. Before we go, remember to tell me in the comments, what is your favorite conspiracy theory? And I'll be sure to read them all and comment on them as well. I will see you on the next one. Rest well, relax, enjoy, and thank you for being part of our TCG fam.